Hi, it's me again with Corel Tips and Tricks, and somebody's requesting a box and how to make it, and I'm going to use E-cuts or Macro Monsters E-cuts, and he's putting in coins that are 1.9. He originally said the box should be 1.9 by 1.9 times 2. You need a little bit bigger box, so we're going to make them, let's say 2, and for the one I'm doing it for, if that's too big, we can change it. But I'm going to open up E-cuts, and I'm going to go to this right here. I'm going to go finger joint. And I had a circle selected. I didn't need to do that. So we're going to go finger joint box. He wants the inside to be 1.9, so I'm going to make it 12. The length is going to be 12.25. So on this, we actually may make it 2.25 because that incorporates the 1/8 inch plywood. This particular one, as far as I know, doesn't really make a lid. And I'm going to show you how to make a lid, or I'll figure it out later. So I'm using 1/4 inch finger joints. The material thickness is 1.25, which is 1/8 inch plywood. I don't worry about the curve, but the one I'm doing it for, you're going to have to do a test cut, and I'll show you how to do that too. Put apply, and then say okay. And here's our box. And if we kind of test it, especially on this joint right here, with our parallel dimension tool, grab that node right there and hold down the control button so it'll be perpendicular, and get to that node right there. And you can see now our box is 2 inches. So that 1.9, let me do this. Let me grab all this and break the curve apart because it's kind of grouped together. Now we can take this joint, put P, and now this is what a 1.9 coin would look like inside the box. So that's pretty much done. Now, you can take this file and just run it. But he also said he wanted a lid on it. This will make you could glue all the pieces in. So this is your top, your bottom, your two sides, and your ends. This will make a lid, but the finger joints are going to be kind of in the way to pop all the finger joints off. So what we can do, we can take, what I would do is take the two ends and take the two sides, and these things are identical. Well, no, they're not identical. If you can look at that little nub right there. So we might have to play around with that and see what is what. Let's just do it. This piece would fit inside there. Sometimes you have to kind of manually figure this out. I'm going to make that one blue for a second so we can see the difference, because you need to know which way it's going to fit together. And we're going to grab our, and see, that's the way it's going to fit together. So that's one. And I'm going to say that this is the other one. Yep. Make it blue for just a second. So this one has to be that one. So this is, let me just double check, make sure. Grab your pick tool and go right there. So that's what the box is going to look like. So if you put it together, we need to do, this will be one side, this will be one side, this will be the top. So this is the top on that side. Let me make sure I'm not confused here. If that's the top, then this is a side, and then this is a side. Nope, this will be a side. If you kind of look at it like this. So there we go, and then this is going to be the bottom. So what we need to do is take the two side pieces. Let's just move this out of the way for a second. Get our end pieces, and let's hit T to put it to the top of the page. Now what we're going to do is we're going to draw a line to make a lid. And if we look at we put our circle or our coin into that one, we need to cut it about like right in here. So what we can do is we'll bring down an indexing line while our coin's in there. We want enough joints to work. I got my indexing lines off. There we go. Take the coin out, and I'm just going to draw a perpendicular line about as long as our object and put it right on those nodes. Okay, well, I moved the box out of the way. So when you do this, just put it back and always hit T so they'll be equal. Now I move my line up at the same time so we can take our line and we can nudge our line down or just move it down to that spot. Now what I'm going to do is move the indexing line, get rid of the indexing line. Our line's not long enough, so we'll take the shape tool and just extend that out, holding down the control button so it'll be perpendicular. And now we know this is 2 inches, so I need to set my nudge factor on like 2 inches. I'm going to take the Smart Fill tool. I'm actually going to nudge it up, so I'm going to take this away. If you don't have E-cuts, you need to look into it. I'm going to take the Smart Fill tool, and I'm going to fill that in and nudge it up, fill that in and nudge it up, fill that in and nudge it up, fill that in and nudge it up. And then I'm just going to leave these, okay? Now I'm going to take the whole thing and right-click no line. Now I'm going to left-click no fill, and I'm going to right-click line, and it's a hairline. So now we have, I need to take away this line. Yep, there we go. I still had the original piece in there. What we have now is we have 8 pieces instead of 4. So this is going to be your lid. And then the one I'm doing this for, I would take another little piece of plywood and glue it into this spot. Make it kind of, you know, you don't have to do all 4 sides. You could do probably both ends or both sides, but I would put it right on that end of that box, make it perfect, you know, perfect fit, and have it maybe go like right, maybe inside that line, because you're going to have a little bit of curve. And let's go back to this side. Now, if you want to stretch an item, you just grab that 2-point. So let's call that close, and then just cut that piece of plywood out too. And then I would maybe suggest doing all 4 pieces, all 4 corners of your top, and then glue it into your bottom piece, you know, about halfway down. So it gives it kind of a lip. And then what's going to happen is your top, after it's glued together, will fit, in theory, should work, should fit all around that. You might have to, you know, sand that inside of that lip off just a little bit to give it a little bit of slap, but that would make a nice box. And if we look at it with our coin, I don't think we've interfered with the coin's not going to get in the way of that piece of plywood because we're down here, and thankfully that piece of plywood will be like right up, well, it'll be right here. So it won't interfere with your, now looking back on it, it might make the coin hard to get out. So we'd either have to make the box bigger or something, and just let me know if you need more help than that. Now, so you've got all these pieces to cut out. Well, instead of, you know, this is set up for like a laser, but not particularly your laser. So you're going to have these, this piece doesn't really count. That's an afterthought. So what I would do is take some of these joints, and what I would do, I would take these two, Control D, and make a duplicate, move them over here, and then do this right here. I would take a rectangle and do this right here and then smart fill this and nudge it up, nudge that up, then just cut out these two pieces. And if they match, if they're tight, it should work. You want it a little bit tight. If it's a little bit loose, the glue's gonna take up that spot. And on something this big, can't really clamp it. I use a rubber hose, or maybe even a piece of elastic, or really long clamps and little clamps for sideways. Really, you don't have much clamping if it fits pretty tight. But that way you haven't wasted all this wood if this does not fit together. And what I mean by that is the kerf. We might have to change the kerf a little bit. So we take this piece and put it right there, and you can see how they mimic each other. And they're a 1/4 inch. Let's make sure, take our parallel dimension tool and measure from there to there. And we got 0.12, but we run the decimal place out. We got 0.125. Anyway, I hope that helped a little bit, and thank you for watching.